Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my review for Captain America Brave New World.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy. Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
So, Captain America Brave New World, set after the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the TV series that was on Disney Plus that I've kind of forgotten what happened really in it. It follows Sam Wilson, who has now taken up the mantle of Captain America in full after meeting with the newly elected General Ross, who is now the President of the United States, if you can believe it. It's very much doing a Lex Luthor becomes president kind of scenario there. He finds himself in the middle of a global incident over a valuable resource which has been discovered from an area that we saw a few movies ago, which a lot of people were wondering if we'd ever get there again. I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, but you know, it's about time they bloody told us what happened with this thing that occurred. And in amongst all of this, he must uncover a nefarious plot involving a good friend of his and an attempt on General Ross's life. And it all goes a bit crazy. There is a nefarious being lurking in the background, as seems to always be the case at the moment, and he must uncover the true nature of the sinister plot that is ongoing. Now, a lot's been said about, you know, where the MCU is at the moment, and I think as good as, you know, Anthony Mackie is in this film, I do think he has some really good moments in there. As much as I enjoyed even seeing Harrison Ford actually look like he's having a bit of fun for a change, probably the most fun, you know, he's had for a while. Obviously, I think he took up the role because of a good friend with William Hurt. Obviously, the passing of William Hurt meant that, you know, somebody needed to fill in the boots, as it were, of that great character. And it's good to see Harrison Ford, you know, seemingly have a bit of fun. There is also, you know, without delving into too many spoilers, there's a returning character from a long ago MCU movie, one of my favourites, to be fair, which will come as a bit of a surprise. But I don't want to spoil too much because I don't think everybody is fully aware. You know, it's not revealed in the trailers, this part, which is surprising. But this character is good for their part as well. So, you know, there are some decent moments in terms of the acting moments, but it's those smaller moments that work for me in this film. There are some decent character moments in between, you know, Sam Wilson and Isaiah Bradley, who appears in this film as well, and then there is some good moments between Thaddeus Ross and Sam Wilson as well. But the rest of the film, I'm sorry to say, is lackluster. The story in places is choppy and just a bit, just messy. There's been a lot said about whether this film went into reshoots or not. THR released an article a while ago that said that was never the case, but you can't escape the fact that this film feels so poorly edited that there has to be some sort of truth to the rumours that they had to go back, reshoot bits and pieces, bring other people in. It's a well-known fact that Giancarlo Esposito's character, who appears in this film, and he's thoroughly underused. Much to my frustration, he's completely underused. But you can tell a million miles away that he's been added in post when they realised things weren't working. It's so clear, you can't get away from it. You really can't. Couple that with just some story beats just don't really work at all. Some of the dialogue is dreadful. My missus, who isn't really au fait with any of this kind of stuff, she turned around to me and said, after the film, some of that seemed like it was written by AI. It was so poor. The conversations just don't feel human. What are they fucking talking about at some point in this film? I just didn't know. I didn't know, and I was, dare I say, for quite a short comic movie by MCU standards, there were a few periods in this film when I was like, we need to get going here. It's dragging its feet, and it doesn't drag its feet also with the pacing, but also with some of the action sequences. I'm sorry to say, some of the action sequences coming away from the CGI nonsense which we end up getting, it feels laboured. The fist fights, they feel laboured. They feel like there's minimal choreographic work going on here. And considering what we've seen before in movies like this, especially in the MCU, that is a damn shame. And alongside that, well, yes, I know we've got a human being in Sam Wilson as Captain America taking the mantle. He hasn't got the serum. He doesn't use the serum at all. But for all the hits that he takes, there's also a lot of weightlessness to some of the actions that he does. When he's using the shield, it feels, I don't know, like he's throwing a frisbee. It's bizarre. You could see when Steve Rogers was throwing the shield, he was putting weight behind him and momentum. I don't get a sense that, and this is the whole super soldier issue, I don't get a sense that Sam Wilson would be able to do the same things, which is, especially considering how he uses it in this film, it almost appears like the shield's got a mind of its own. I mean, maybe it does. Sam utilises so many different bits from other superheroes in this film that he barely has, his own sort of character in this. Yeah, I feel a bit remiss to say that Sam Wilson only feels like a fully formed character when he's not wearing the suit. In these smaller moments, when he's wearing the suit, he's technically wearing a bit of Black Panther suit. He's technically wearing, a bit of Ant-Man suit as well. He's technically wearing a bit of Iron Man suit. The suit is infused with all different bits and pieces from other heroes to make it work, to be able to allow him to take hits. That for me, it takes away from Sam Wilson what made him great, as being the Falcon. It's a paradoxical situation that I had with this film. I like Sam Wilson as a character. I think he's a really good character. I wasn't exposed to much from him, prior to appearing in the MCU. I didn't know much about him from the comic books, but having gone back and looked at the history, what it means, and what he does, what he brings to the table, it seems like we've sacrificed a little bit of that with all these other characters' usefulness put on top of him to make his suit work, to make him take the hits that he does in this movie. It's such a shame. And I'm sorry to say, but as well, this film feels so much like it's a copy and paste from other better movies out there. And fundamentally, the story beats are almost entirely lifted from Winter Soldier. We have yet another mind control situation going on in this film. Again, I'm not going to delve into too many spoilers, but it's hard for me not to discuss it. There's mind control yet again in this movie. There's a shadowy villain from the past who has taken up a new form again. There's a secret base underground, just like Arnim Zola's base, underneath a familiar bit of territory. It's carbon copy story moments and story beats that just feel like, well, we've seen all this before. Show us something new. And what we do see new is very flimsy, dribbling nonsense. We get a CGI fest of a scenario involving warships later on in the film, but it's, compared to what we've seen with, say, Top Gun Maverick, it's absolutely flaccid. It feels tepid and disjointed. There is, for everything that this film does well, there's something else that completely undermines it, and that is why I'm firmly smack in the bang average middle of this just being an average movie. There's nothing wholly terrible, but there's nothing great about it either. Like, the thing with the Captain America Winter Soldier and then Civil War, there was something to grab onto, not just with the action, but with the characterizations, what we were getting, deeper meanings, deeper connective tissues, and we get that very sparingly in this movie between, Sam Wilson, Isaiah Bradley, and a little bit with General Ross as well, President Ross, mind you, but it all amounts to nothing. And come the end of the film, after we've had we deal with so much build-up to Red Hulk that it doesn't feel like it's important because the fucking trailers spoiled it all.
Blind, stupid
biggest mistake with this movie is that they revealed Red fucking Hulk in the trailers, in the posters, in the banners, in the toys, fucking everywhere, because there's no tension to the build-up at all. We know what's coming, and by the end of the film we're like, come on, let's just get on with it, let's see what happens. And even then the payoff is weak. It doesn't feel like a resounding, terrifying moment. It's so it's so tepid. Like I said, that's the only word I can use to describe it. It's tepid, and it's disappointing because of that. But then there's nothing inherently wrong with the performances. It just doesn't. One side of the film doesn't service the other side of the film, and I'm afraid that is, just wholly down to the creatives in it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's entirely unique looking to look at. The score is terrible and, repetitive of other scores that we've heard before. It's a typical MCU issue of, really weak scores apart from the Avengers and, the Iron Man films. And like I said, come the end of the film, it's like, well, what's really changed? Oh, nothing. Well, I guess the inherent march to Doomsday continues. We know the Avengers are coming back, so whatever they say in this movie doesn't really make you go, oh, wow, that's interesting. Great, looking forward to that, because we know what's going to be coming. And the problem with this film is, it is wholly predictable. Every single step of this movie is predictable. I remember watching Winter Soldier and being completely shocked when Arnim Zola turns up. When he's in that basement and he's the computer, I was like, well, this is fucking brilliant. It's well structured, it's well crafted, it's well written, the dialogue's intense and amazing, and the action works within that, creating tension, emotional tension, but there is nothing of that here in Captain America Brave New World. If this is the Brave New World, then I'm sorry, it's not very exciting and it's not very intriguing, and that's the thing with the Marvel movies. Endgame felt like you'd completed a fucking video game. You went through the rigmarole of all this build-up, all this creativity, loss, victories, and now these movies, the MCU movies, having completed Endgame, the MC movies, the TV shows, they all feel like weak side quests that you forgot to do while the main story was ongoing. And because you're a completionist, you go back and go, well, I'll do it, even though it's a bit middling, and I kind of binned it off halfway through so I could carry on with a better side quest, be it, fucking Thor, or anything else. That's what these films feel like to me. They feel like weak side quests that we're just trudging through in order to get that 100% complete score. And that is a great shame to me. Like I said, there's nothing inherently wrong with the performances. It's just everything else. Everything else is weak. And what a shame. What a real shame. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. And I think that speaks for itself. We have the Thunderbolts coming next with the little asterisk. Have I missed something? I don't understand what the frig that's all about. And even with that one, there's a bit of sort of like, oh, well, I'll see what it's like. I don't have that urgency to see these movies anymore. Where's that urgency gone? Where's it gone? Is it the law of diminishing returns? Is it just bad creative decisions? I don't know. That's for somebody much smarter than me to figure out and release a book on when we get to film number 50. I mean, we're on 35 at the minute, so we're not far off.
Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel. Ah! Ah!
But there we go. That's my thoughts and opinions on Captain America Brave New World. God. Oh my word. Yeah. Literally, Doomsday's only, is it next year? Jesus. Well, let me know your thoughts on Captain America Brave New World below. Did you enjoy it? Did you dislike it? Let me know. Let's have a dialogue as we always do with this. I'm just a bit lost, as I have been with the MCU for quite a while now, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this one. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.